I'm Jeremy. Today's day 278 of reading. Today reading Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Let's get started. We are currently on page 392. Let's go. Harry had used during the first test of the Triwizard Tournament. Other teachers were not so generous. Nothing would ever deflect Professor Binns, for example, from plowing on through his notes on goblin rebellions, as Binns hadn't let his own death stand in the way of continuing to teach. They supposed a small thing like Christmas wasn't going to put him off in the slightest. It was amazing how he could make even bloody ambitious goblin riots sound as boring as Percy's Cauldron Bottom report. Professor McGonagall and Moody kept them working until the very last second of their classes, too. And Snape, of course, would no sooner let them play games in class than adopt Harry. Staring nastily around at them all, he informed them that he would be testing them on poison antidotes during the last lesson of the term. Evil he is, Ron said bitterly that night in Gryffindor common room, springing a test on us the last day, ruining the last bit of the term with a whole load of studying. You're not exactly straining yourself, though, are you? Said Hermione, looking at him over the top of her potions notes. Ron was busy building a card castle out of his exploding snap pack. A much more interesting pastime than with Muggle cards, because of the chance that the whole thing would blow up at any second. It's Christmas, Hermione, said Harry lazily. He was rereading Flying with the Cannons for the 10th time in an armchair near the fire. Hermione looked severely over at him. I'd have thought you'd be doing something constructive, Harry, even if you don't want to learn your antidotes. Like what? She said, as he watched Joey Jenkins of the Cannons build a bludger toward a Ballycastle bats chaser. That egg, Hermione hissed. Come on, Hermione, I've got till February the 24th, Harry said. He had put the golden egg upstairs in his trunk and hadn't opened it since the celebration party after the first task. There were still 2.5 months to go until he needed to know what all that screechy wailing meant, after all. But it might take weeks to work out, said Hermione. You're going to look like a real idiot if everyone else knows what the next task is, and you don't. Leave him alone, Hermione. He's earned a bit of a break, said Ron as he placed the last 2 cards on top of the castle, and the whole lot blew up, singeing his eyebrows. Nice look, Ron. Well, go with your dress robes, that will. It was Fred and George. They sat down at the table with Harry, Ron, and Hermione, as Ron felt how much damage had been done. Ron, can we borrow Pigwidgeon? George asked. No, he's off delivering a letter, said Ron. Why? Because George wanted to invite him to the ball, said Fred sarcastically. Because we want to send a letter, you stupid great prat, said George. Who do you two keep writing to, eh? Said Ron. Nose out, Ron, or I'll burn that for you too, said Fred, waving his wand threateningly. So, you lot got dates for the ball yet? Nope, said Ron. Well, you better hurry up, mate, or all the good ones will be gone. Who are you going with, then? Said Ron. Angelina, said Fred promptly, without a trace of embarrassment. What? Said Ron, taken aback. You've already asked her? Good point, said Fred. He turned his head and called across the common room. Oi, Angelina! Angelina, who had been chatting with Alicia Spinnet near the fire, looked over at him. What? She called back. Want to come to the ball with me? Angelina gave Fred an appraising look. All right, then, she said, and she turned back to Alicia, carried on chatting with a bit of a grin on her face. There you go, said Fred to Harry and Ron. Piece of cake. He got to his feet, yawning, and said, We'd better use the school owl then. George, come on. And when they left, Ron stopped feeling his eyebrows and looked across the smoldering wreck of his card castle at Harry. We should get a move on, ask someone. He's right. We don't want to end up with a pair of trolls. Hermione let out a sputter of indignation. A pair of what? Excuse me? Well, said Ron, shrugging. I'd rather go alone than with Alois Midgen, say. Her acne's loads better lately, and she's really nice. Her nose is off center, said Ron. Oh, I see, Hermione said, bristling. So basically, you're going to take the best-looking girl who'll have you, even if she's completely horrible? Yeah, that sounds about right, said Ron. I'm going to bed. Hermione snapped, and she swept off toward the girls' staircase without another word. The Hogwarts staff, demonstrating a continued desire to impress the visitors from Bugsbattens and Durmstrang, seemed determined to show the castle at its best this Christmas. When the decorations went up, Harry noticed that they were the most stunning he had yet seen in the school. Everlasting icicles had been attached to banisters of the marble staircase. The usual 12 Christmas trees in the Great Hall were bedecked with everything from luminous holly berries to real hooting golden owls, and the suits of armor had all been bewitched to sing carols whenever anyone passed them. It was quite something to hear, "Oh, come, all you faithful," sung by an empty helmet that only knew half the words. Several times, Filch the caretaker had to extract peas from the inside of the armor, where he had taken to hiding, filling in the gaps in the song the lyrics with his own invention, all which were very rude. And still, Harry hadn't asked Cho to the ball. He and Ron were getting very nervous now, though, as Ron pointed out, Ron would look much less stupid than he would without a partner. Harry was supposed to be starting the dancing with the other champions. I suppose there's always moaning Myrtle, he said gloomily, referring to the ghost who haunted the girls' toilet in second floor. Harry, we've just got to grit our teeth and do it, said Ron on Friday morning, a tone that suggested they were planning the storming of an impregnable fortress. When we get back to the common room tonight, we'll both have partners. Agreed? Okay, said Harry. But every time he glimpsed Cho that day, during break and the lunchtime, and once on the way to History of Magic, she was surrounded by friends. Didn't she ever go anywhere alone? Could he perhaps ambush her as she was going into a bathroom? But no, she even seemed to go there with an escort of 4 or 5 girls. Yet if he didn't do it soon, she was bound to be asked by someone else. He had found it hard to concentrate on Snape's potions test and consequently forgot to add the key ingredient, a bezoar, and was meaning that he received bottom marks. He didn't care, though. He was too busy screwing up his courage for what he was about to do. When the bell rang, he grabbed his bag and hurried to the dungeon door. "I'll meet you at dinner," he said to Ron and Hermione, and he dashed upstairs. He just had to ask Cho for a private word. That was all. He hurried off through the packed corridors looking for her, and rather sooner than he had expected, he found her, emerging from a defense against the dark arts lesson. Cho, could I have a word with you?" Googling should have been made illegal. Harry thought furiously as all the girls around Cho started doing it. She didn't, though. She said, "Okay," and followed him out of earshot of her classmates. Harry turned to look at her, and his stomach gave a weird lurch as though he had missed a step going downstairs. Thank you, everyone. That's all for today. Tomorrow we're going to read page 397. Bye-bye. Peace out.